Actually, it is not a very planned process, like every household wants their child to go and learn an instrument. I went and learned the mridangam. I started learning the mridangam, and then in school I saw one of my seniors, Sanjay Ramnath, playing on the drums and so many other instruments. So I got inspired, and slowly I started liking the drums more than anything else. So it was a gradual shift, and there were obviously more opportunities to play the drum set than to play the mridangam at that point of time in my school. So I slowly shifted from mridangam to the drums, and all this is around my 6th and 7th standard. Actually, I started learning mridangam from Shri Vaikyam Devarajan sir, and I got inspired seeing many players, and I started actually playing the drums on my own. But later on, to know all the technicalities, I went to Hari sir, and then I happened to be meeting the great maestro Umayalpuram Shivaraman sir, my guru, from whom I learnt all the nuances of playing the Carnatic styles of drumming and converting them and playing them on the drum set. I think that's maybe around my 10th standard. I was very interested to be performing music. So I formed a small band with a few of my friends in school, and we used to play at every opportunity possible, including weddings itself from that time. It was I was thinking that right after my 12th I will start looking for full-time opportunities in music, and it was right after my 12th standard that I kind of completely decided that this is going to be my profession. But the seed has been there from slightly earlier, maybe my 9th, 10th standard, and I had a little more clarity on what I want to do. So around that time is when I decided that I wanted to be a musician for life. See, availability of equipment, access to different forms of music. For example, when I was in school, like if you say a Brazilian rhythm, I can't go and check it online saying what is a Brazilian rhythm, what is the history, what are the different kind of instruments that make a Brazilian ensemble, or a Japanese ensemble, or a Korean drum ensemble, what are the instruments that were there. So these kind of possibilities were not available at that point in time. Now it's available. You have reference videos if you want to know how each instruments are played. Like in Chennai a couple of years back for World Music Day, I did a lecture demonstration on Korean musical instruments, which is completely different from what we have in India. There is one instrument which is very similar to our Yadakkai of Kerala or the talking drum of Africa, but otherwise all the other drums were very different. So I did my research, I understood, I saw videos for reference, I found how they were played, and in fact in one of the concerts of our drum school, I did an entire Korean ensemble with using just Korean drums. So all this possibility is only because of the resources that are available today, which was not available that day. So, and the kind of infrastructure that is available today was definitely not available that day. We started in the year 2003. This is our 16th year. We've trained over 1,000 students here at Just Drums. It started off as a small idea of having a summer camp for rhythm, which would have been the first of its kind in 2003. So that was my intention, to do a summer camp for rhythm, make people play drums in a short while. Otherwise, anything musical was associated as very time consuming and a very long process. So to get people interested, I thought I will devise a curriculum which is only for about 3 months. People come, learn the basics of drumming, and then they'll be able to kind of play on the drum set. So this was the initial plan when I wanted to set up a drum school. But this whole idea came from so many people asking me every time I went to a college or a school competition to judge. So a lot of people used to come and ask me, after my performance, sir, do you teach? So I didn't have the setup or the facility at that point in time to take many students. I had some 4 or 5 students who will come every Sunday morning, lift my big drum set from the 2nd floor to the 4th floor to the terrace. All of us will take it together, and from 6 to 9, before the sun becomes very, very hot, we play for some time. I teach them a few things, and they come back the next week mastering that, and then they come back and practice on the kit. It was like that. I just had one kit with which I was playing concerts and teaching. So this is how this idea sprung up. So many people asking me, and the day we opened the drum school, we had close to 15 students joining us, and in no time it became 30, and then there has been no looking back in the last 15 years. And Chennai in particular is a place with a multicultural character. So you give them anything new, you come and say, I'm doing origami here, people will be there to learn. You come and say that I'm doing a session on African cuisine, there'll be some people who will be interested. People are very open and they want to try out new things. Today I'm teaching not only students, but some of their parents tell me, sir, I'm anyway coming and waiting outside, can I come in and learn? So a lot of people are coming and learning. I have a student's grandmother who's coming and learning the djembe from me. So like that, it's kind of opened up a whole new spectrum of ideas, associations and possibilities. So the journey has been really incredible, and apart from just teaching students, I have personally learnt a lot, and I've kind of been practicing every day because I have to teach somebody, so I either have to show them to play or I have to correct them. So the last 16 years now I've been playing every day, so that's an amazing thing for a musician. I use a lot of live instruments and a few electronic instruments as a combination. One of the recent drums that I've acquired is called the A-frame. It's an electro-organic drum, and I got the first piece in India. I recently saw it in a short film based on A.R. Rahman's journey. Here also bought a few of those recently. I got the first of that piece, and I've been experimenting with that. So that is one of the latest instruments that I've been using. It's even now, I think maybe they have sold 4 or 5 pieces in India in all, not more than that. Otherwise I use a lot of live percussion. I use a regular drum set, and mine is a hybrid setup. I use some duffs, I use timbales, I use an instrument called the octabands. Then I use a few electronic instruments which gives me a variety of sounds and a lot of effect sounds, plus the regular cymbals and gongs and bells are part of my setup. And recently, last year, from one of my travel, I got this instrument called the hung drum, which I'll play for you shortly. It's again a beautiful instrument. So depending on the acoustics of the place that I'm performing and the size of the place, I also use the hung drum in a few concerts. So this is called the hung drum. It's a superb drum, makes a beautiful sound, gives you so much of peace to listen to this. Everything inspires me because everything has rhythm, right from the way you talk If you see a person, he talks only in a particular speed. If you tell him please slow down, it will be difficult for him. If you say speak fast to somebody, they won't be able to do it. They always speak in a rhythm. And even if you're like, moving your leg, if you're shaking your leg, it always happens in a rhythm. If you're walking, it always happens in a rhythm. Your heart beats in a rhythm. Everything has a rhythm. For me, the Panchabhutas are a big source of inspiration. Water is very close to my heart. So I spend a lot of time on the water, either swimming, rowing, and a few other activities. So actually, everything is in rhythm. Swimming is in rhythm, rowing is in rhythm. So all that inspires me. I've done some pieces using water, both playing on water and using that as a surface to change the sound and the pitch for instruments. So nature, the Panchabhutas, is what inspires me. And I travel a lot. I meet new people, try to understand their culture and try to understand what they like, which is why it's very easy for a musician to connect to anybody from any culture. Any place that I've been, when I see the drum, I'm happy to just go and play on that, and people around are very happy. Last year I was at Bali, and I went to a cultural center, and I saw that there was an instrument called the gamelan. So there was somebody demonstrating that, so I asked him, can I try? And I just went off and played a lot of rhythm on that, and he was very thrilled to see me play, and I was very thrilled to see him thrilled. So it's like that. Inspiration comes from everything. You just have to keep looking for inspiration, and it happens. With fans, while performing straight away live, it's only through music. It's very important to keep music simple and ensure that it's like a communication. So if it is used as a form of communication, people are coming to listen to you, so it's important for you to make sure that it reaches them. So it's definitely through music. And today we have various other forms. There are a lot of students who, when I go and perform in a school, recently I went and performed at Vidya Mandir Estancia. They had called me as the chief guest for one of their programs. I had a student who wrote to me from there. Somebody visited and said, oh, I know Murali. Immediately they placed a call, and the student had a chat with me and said, you played on this, you played on that, and it made this sound, and we had a discussion. So it's primarily through music, but also through other forms. Today you're reachable in all forms. Sometimes after a concert I get a few WhatsApp messages saying, you played this, what did that mean, and what is that instrument, where did this particular sound come from? So the audience are very well educated today, and you cannot just get away with whatever you do. You'll have to be very correct, and you must have practiced a lot before you get on stage, and then it's easy for you to communicate to people through your music. The effective method is when the teacher conveys something and the student understands. So that's the most effective method. You have to make sure that the student understands what you're trying to convey. So you'll have to keep it very simple, or if it is difficult, you'll have to break it down into pieces and teach. So you have to break it down into 3 or 4 portions. If it's a very lengthy exercise, then you break it down into 3 or 4 portions and teach them one at a time, so they're able to grasp it. And you can also connect anything in rhythm. Particularly, I always connect what I teach and what I play to some of the normal things that everybody does, like walking and talking, like I told you earlier. So it should be always, you should connect and relate it to something, and it will be very easy for people to grasp. The lessons that I have written here are typically based on what I learnt in my life, and the way I learnt drumming, and the way how it was easier for me, and what is the method to make it easier for people. So when I wrote those lessons, these were the only thoughts in my mind, that it must be reachable for everybody. So whether it's a 5-year-old or a 70-year-old man, then it should be the same. They must be able to grasp it, and also it should retain their interest. So these are the simple rules that I follow. I think I have a non-performance anxiety. Maybe, if I'm not performing, maybe I'm a little anxious, but never for performance. Right from my childhood, I've been a very active child, and I go out and I play with people. I don't fear asking questions. to anybody. If I want to know something, I just go and ask the question. So I've never had a problem of, I was never a shy or a reserved guy. I was a very open extrovert. So stage fear was never on my plate. If say I'm performing in the evening, I make sure that I go well in advance to the venue, set up, do a proper sound check, make sure that the team is all set, and then we spend some time together with the performing musicians, have a nice chat, if possible to get a short amount of rest and a nice cup of coffee, and we all set. There is no replacement to practice. And your practice today is like putting money into the bank, which you can withdraw whenever you want and it doesn't reduce. It's just there. So it's very, very important to practice a lot when you start, because there is also a time. It's not like you suddenly start after your 70 years and then you get to a habit. Yes, it is possible, but you have to put a lot more effort. There are a lot more situations that conspire against you when you want to do something as you age. So the best time is to practice all that you love when you're young, and keep practicing a lot, because all this is going to come in handy for you at a later stage. It's my personal experience that I even today try to learn a few new beats and instruments and different ways to approach them on the kit. But all this is easier because I've done a lot of practice when I was in school and in my younger days. So practice a lot. There is no replacement for practice, and it will take you a very, very long way.